When I tell you I'm into this, really good, really good. I just started this, but I already love it. In my notes from the journey. Hello and welcome to this YouTube page, this YouTube video. My name is Grace, creationalcodes.com. So if it's not clear from the title or from my badge of honor, I attended a advanced retreat with Dr. Joe Dispenza, and it was life-changing. And in this video, I'm not going to give any spoilers because it's so important that when you attend these events that your mind can be blown. And if you go, you'll know. But I'm not going to give any spoilers. This is all about my experience, what I was expecting, what I liked, what I didn't love, and how it has drastically changed my life. This retreat is intensive. It will change your life because you are in a space with 2,000 plus people who are passionate, who want to heal, who want to change, who want to evolve, who want to get better. And you are with them for about, like 12 hours a day, if not more. You're in the classroom with them, you're meditating with them, you're eating with them, they're at the beach with you, they're at the pool with you. I was in Cancun for my retreat, so it was really nice. But it changes your life because, and Dr. Joe has studied this, even if you're not expecting things to happen, they do. Physiologically, biologically, it's measurable in your blood. And the life-changing effects are just profound. What did I expect before going to this event? I honestly expected that I would have a bit of an ego death. I expected that, you know, there would be a lot of interesting people there, and that, you know, maybe I would make a couple friends, maybe I'd meet some cool people. I expected some of the meditations to be challenging and that, you know, he would push us beyond our limits. What did happen was beyond what I thought would happen. Honestly, I didn't go in with crazy expectations or assumptions about what exactly would go on because it's a week. I figured we would be together a lot. I actually had this creation in my mind, in the quantum mind. I decided I wanted to meet Joe, and I did meet him numerous times, which was so beautiful. And that's the thing about these retreats, is that it's very intimate. You are connecting with him and connecting with all of the people there in a very divine space. And they also take care of the youth very effectively, very beautifully. If you're under 25, I especially recommend that you go because you are held in such a beautiful container, and Joe talks with you in that space privately. So it's a really beautiful experience to get to communicate with somebody who is at a, you know, a place where maybe you aspire to be, or doing research you aspire to do, or has a company you aspire to do something similar with in your future. It's beautiful to get to communicate with somebody in that place. And also to just feel so held. He was like such a great, honestly, when he was talking to the youth group, I felt like he was like such a father figure. So it was really, really beautiful. What I loved, without spoiling anything, I loved the buffet. I loved the buffet. I'm such a foodie. I love food. I love eating. And the hotel was amazing. It offered gluten-free. It offered all of the, you know, alternatives that you might need. It had everything: vegan, soy milk, almond milk, gluten-free, whatever you need. Obviously, I loved the beach. I loved the pools. I loved the meditations. The meditations pushed me beyond my limits. They pushed me beyond my boundaries, and I'm not gonna say the duration or what exactly goes on, but there is some stuff that occurs in the retreats that blew my socks off, and I felt like I was on a different planet. I was pushed to a place that I was very uncomfortable with, but I surrendered, and that's what you have to do. When you go to these things, you have to surrender, and it's beautiful because you have no choice. You're there, you're committed. Another thing I loved about this retreat is they don't tell you anything. Even when you're there, when you get there, you have no idea what's happening. You have no idea what's happening until the day you leave. And as soon as the event ends, you're like, okay, you were just in a realm of the unknown potentials, possibilities, which is, I guess, exactly why they run it that way. They don't want you to have an idea about what's going to happen next so you can plan. Which at the time I was like, that's annoying. But at the end of it, I really, really loved it, and I've tried to incorporate that into my daily life. I also loved how much scientific research Joe Dispenza and his Dr. Hummel, who works with him, and their companies how much research their companies have done to prove what is happening at these events, to prove, you know, the bodily, physiological, biological changes that are happening in these people at these events through one meditation, through the whole week. It's incredible for them to be studying it in the way they are. And they're also doing such profound services for the communities all around the world, and people are receiving this help for free. People are being shown that there's possibilities for them, help for them, and I really loved that they showed that research. They let us get involved. They gave us the opportunity to get involved with these companies, and I think it's just beautiful. The people that go to these things are people you want to be around. If you feel drawn to go, it's because of the people that are going. The people that attend these events are so beautiful. I had never felt like I was with more loving people than when I was there. You would walk by anybody, smile, hello, how are ya, hug. You know, people were just so friendly, so happy. And that's why it's so hard to leave. And I think that's why people keep going back, because the energy and the love and the passion of the people who go, it's so palpable, it's so beautiful, it's so heartwarming. And it's just a joyous experience that honestly, when you leave, you miss it dearly, because the people that go are just so kind, so friendly, all in the same boat, all curious about the same thing. And that's also why the meditations are so powerful, because 2,500 people in one room meditating together is an amplitude of energy that cannot be compared to at all. I've been meditating for 4 years, and the way God moved through me when I was in that space was absolutely unreal. The elevation of energy when you're in that group is, I don't even know how to describe it, but I do know that Joe has research on this and has measured the energy in the room and has measured the effects that it has on people biologically. So if you're curious about it, I encourage you to look at it, because it's profound. What I didn't love. Okay, and this is hard for me to say, and honestly, most of it is from a place of ego or discomfort or just my own experience with, you know, my boundaries being pushed. Things I didn't love were the spaciousness between the chairs. Honestly, I know I'm nitpicking, but if I'm honest, you are meditating with about an inch between you and the person next to you. There would be many times where my arm would be like snug up against somebody else, and that's fine. But if you absorb energy, I can confirm that that is a lot of energy to absorb, and you don't have any personal space. Again, it's only for a week, so it's not that big of a deal, but if you are sensitive to that, it's definitely something to look at, something to take care of for yourself. And near the end of the event, I realized I could leave my chair and go sit on the ground around the room, not really in the seats. So that was a big plus, and know that you can do that. There were a couple things that happened during the event that were quite triggering to me. As a spiritual enthusiast, I didn't realize the amount of somatic release that was going to be happening during these events. And I do have to say that it was quite jolting, and numerous people I talked to experienced the same thing. The reason it's quite jolting is because you will be in meditation and you will be guided through these meditations. And at random points during the meditations, people will have an experience where energy moves through them. Again, the energy is just so high. There is this breath work that Joe teaches, and you can find it on his website. It's called The Breath. And what the breath does is that it's supposed to pull your cerebral spinal fluid up to your pineal. So it's kind of similar to Kriya, Kundalini kind of breath. You are actively clenching your bottom organs and you're inhaling, and the cerebral spinal fluid is moved up to the pineal. The pineal has piezoelectric crystals. This is scientifically proven. This is not a philosophy. And when it hits the piezoelectric crystals in the brain, it causes a burst of hormones in the brain. It opens up your pineal to like crazy amounts of energies. Your brain receives a ton of energetic activity, hormonal release. Anyways, it's quite intense. And when this happens, people would scream a lot. There was a lot of screaming. That was not something I was prepared for or comfortable with, really. So that was my one big trigger at the event, was the screaming and the somatic release. It was very obvious to me that numerous people were probably struggling with this. I talked to numerous women who were kind of uncomfortable with it, didn't really know how to take it. I talked to numerous women who had like extra pairs of headphones because they just didn't want to hear it. And in my opinion, that's totally fair and fine. At the end of it, I was able to kind of tune it out, but at the same time, I was curious why I should be tuning out screaming. And I guess it's just a circumstance that you have to understand, that people are somatically releasing. It's not a possession, it's not anything dark. As an energy healer being there, I could kind of feel into what was going on there. It didn't feel heavily dark or anything like that. And my guides did tell me, my higher self did tell me, just don't judge, you know, just honor that these people are having their own experience. And I was curious about my own experience with it. I haven't had the full pineal breath activation thing, so I don't know why people were screaming or what it's like to have that moment. But a lot of the times people do go unconscious. The amount of energy that surges to your brain does kind of allow you to kind of just... And the reason that I'm not like saying this and kind of feeling creepy about this is because the amount of research they've done on how this heals the body is immense. So it's not like these people are just screaming and just having this moment and then it's like, oh, that was nothing. They've done a lot of research on how healing this is for the body and how it's healed people of tumors, cancer, ALS, motor dysfunction, all of these things, blindness, by having this state of gamma brainwave state when the cerebral spinal fluid does hit the pineal and the brain has that overload of activity, turning the brain back on, allowing the body to relax. It turns on the parasympathetic nervous system, all of this stuff. So I understand that it was one of those situations where it's just me and my maybe past life traumatization around women screaming. I don't know. I don't really feel like I need to fully heal that. I feel like that's just kind of my biological screaming. It's bad. Don't love it. So that was the one thing I really didn't love. It was quite triggering, and at the end of it, I was able to surrender into it and just relax into it and trust that these people were having their own beautiful experience of healing and wholeness. But again, if that's triggering for you, that would probably be quite intense for you as well. Honestly, that's like my only issue with the whole event. The whole event in and of itself was so beautiful, so incredibly mesmerizing, incredible. The amount of change that has happened in my life since the event, at the event, and throughout the event since coming home has just been profound. Like, I will make a video on it separately if you're curious about my personal journey leaving the event. Please subscribe to the channel so you can make sure you can see that video. The effects afterwards are just out of this world, especially if you surrender. If you let yourself surrender, if you let yourself give in to God working through you, it is an experience like none other, and God will redirect you and redefine you and help you and hold you in a way that you can't even imagine. Like, the work that I'm being called into now is like not really something I ever conceptualized or perceived as my direction. So I'm amazed by it. I'm excited about it. I feel so loved and held, and I would highly, 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 highly recommend attending a Joe Dispenza Unlimited advanced retreat if you have the opportunity. I encourage you to go. Honestly, if you're questioning it, if you're watching this because you're curious If it's for you, I can definitely guarantee that it will change your life in profound ways, and that you will fall in love with yourself in a way you didn't even know possible. Thank you so much for watching this video. If this served you, please give it a like. Please subscribe down below, and I will see you next time.